Mary.
Hi, good to see everyone. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
It's snowing. For the first time, it's snowing right outside my window at this moment.
Yeah, you can see the background.
Yeah, it's very appropriate.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually snow in where I live, Twassen or Vancouver at this time. So it's a celebration of the snow and stuff.
Okay. Great. And we've now got the recording on. We've got the recording on now, and I think we'll start by greeting everybody here on these last days before Christmas. We've been looking forward to seeing you, and we've been looking very much forward to having Steve back again. We had a tremendous session earlier this year with Steve, which was very, very well received, and you have had a lot of viewers, so we were very happy with that, and we look very much forward to this evening. So hello and welcome, and please, you have the table and you have the microphone, and the word is yours.
Well, thank you once again, Christian, for welcoming me to this meeting, and I'm delighted and excited to see the faces on the screen as well, because it's more fun when you have people to share with. So, and that's really the spirit of what we're going to be exploring tonight. It's always an interesting one on where you feel you want yourself to actually go when you start. And I don't pre-plan anything, so it's always interesting when we show up in the moment and we just see which flows. And that's really the way that I hope comes across, especially when we're talking about the holiday season. I call it the holiday season because there is major religions from the beginning of December to the end of January around this world actually taking place. So there's many different celebrations, there's many different faiths and religions celebrating. And one of the things when I was sitting just waiting to come on was that when we underpin all of those religions, the principles are the energy, the source that allows those religions to be here on this earth. And this time of the year for us, coming up to what we call Christmas time, is a time for gifts. And I don't know about the country where you're living yourself, but in the UK, it seems to be, it's more about Santa Claus now, Father Christmas, than what it is about the religious part of it. But whatever way we look at it, is that the principles for me simply are the best gift that we ever could wish to have. The principles are really the gift that keep on giving, just not for this 25th of December, but every moment of our experience, we are being gifted with new life, new thought, new hope, new understanding, which means that we are really the ones who are giving the gift and receiving. And that was something to me that I never thought was possible once upon a time. I always was very happy at giving and didn't really worry if I didn't get anything back. Seeing other people happy was the joy for me. But since coming across these principles, I've really seen that the only gift I really can give away is me, freely. And when I give that gift away, the law of averages brings back that what I give. So I was also thinking, like, there is this time of the year, there's many different things that's going on. So is there excitement that when I was speaking to my niece who just turned 5, her excitement of still Father Christmas is coming, and this list of what she's got to lay out and what she's leaving out for the reindeer and the carrot and the mince pie and the milk, and she's wanting to leave out more because there's more than just Rudolph. So, and all this excitement, which I just love getting caught up in. And of course, we get to the point where we no longer have that thought of understanding this Father Christmas, but to see the magic that was once there in childhood, which really doesn't go away, but we kind of overthink it, I think, as adults, and take ourselves away from that magic. But also this time of the year, there is the excitement. We have family coming over from America, so there's the excitement of them arriving on Friday, and then having this family gathering on Friday with friends and so on. There's also this time of the year where there's maybe people who don't have loved ones with them. So there's so many different thoughts surrounding this, which we call a holiday season, for one day of the year, where we seem to give ourselves permission to give gifts and to stop and just hang out with family and just enjoy ourselves. And that one time of the year seems to bring so much thinking into the consciousness of people, the human consciousness of people, where we seem to forget who we are. And one of the things that I was reflecting on was that since I've come across these three principles, is really seeing that the best gift that I can give to people is my formless nature, the intelligence of us all. That's where I'm looking forward to this year. There's been a change in the plans than which we thought we were originally doing, but I'm going to spend it with my partner's parents and brother, and both are living with dementia. At 91, it's old age, short-term memory isn't there, and you are graced with the gift of truly being in the moment. Because the short-term, as soon as something is said, is gone. And really, the beautiful gift of being around there is that it reminds us that's all we ever have, is the moment. So with him, as soon as you give him something and ask him what he's just eating, it's gone. So we're going to have the grace of just turning up with no expectation. We'll know what we'll cook, what we'll prepare, and how those 2 days that will be there will unfold will be the joy that we'll see. I seem to find that in times when we have the expectation of what it needs to look like in order for it to be perfect, we get a little bit lost in the form of expectation. So if you imagine that we were just talking beforehand of the large family gatherings that we used to have and that Christians going to be having, if we all come with an expectation of what it should look like, we all come in the world of thought of what it needs to be like in order for it to be perfect. The moment that we're doing that, we're losing that sense of the gift of ourself. So one of the first things that I would, and I'm never one for saying to someone, this is what you must do, because you are your own best teacher. So it's listening to yourself as that gift. But when we see ourselves as our own best teacher, we're seeing it from the formless nature rather than the form. And for me, I was brought up with as a Roman Catholic, so I had I always saw the spiritual sharings behind. At the age of 14, I saw that there was an energy or something different than what I was being told. And that kind of confused me a little bit, because here was me being told that I had to see God a certain way, or this time of Christmas a certain way. But I was feeling and experiencing it very different from my family. But here's what I've got to see, is that the gift that just not on the 25th of December, because I'm sure if we ask when is your birthday, someone may be the 25th of December, but we're all born on different days. We all come into this form on different days. And the moment that we come into this form, you are the only one here on this earth. You are the true gift to humanity in this moment on that earth. The same as my faith was, we would look towards Jesus as God bringing Jesus to the earth. You too are God manifesting in the moment as the formless intelligence, as the principles would say. Now I see the principles not as a religion. I see the principles as the spiritual intelligence as being the energy behind all things. It gives energy to religion, to thought, to create everything that we want in the moment. So when I say what I'm saying, I'm not saying it from a religious point of view anymore. I'm saying it more from a spiritual understanding. But when we come onto this earth, we are truly a divine spark of creation. And that spark gets brighter and brighter and brighter with every breath of every year that we take. And the brighter we get, we have the potential in the moment for the spark to light us and take us out of our psychological numbness, which seems to be created or highlighted even more so at this time of the year, where we go into our personal, this must look like this. For me to have the best Christmas, I can't sit beside such and such at the dinner table, or I can't have this, I must do that. Our to-do list takes us away really from the simplicity of the inspiration of who we truly are. It's only temporary, but as we know, temporary can seem like a lifetime. With our spiritual intelligence, there isn't a reality there or a permission of waiting for things to happen. It's continually flowing with creativity. And as it flows with creativity, we can see, Harry and I did a beautiful webinar on native spirituality, and it's when I hear on Sunday evening, and when I hear myself say this, I'm reminded of still that connectedness that Christmas offers us the opportunity to come together. But in our form, it seems to be that family dynamics have a mind of their own. And that's where we tend to live more in the reality of our ego. And our ego, ego, is simply edging God out. You're simply edging yourself out of who you truly are into a dynamic which no longer serves you. So I know when I show up for Christmas, yeah, I want it to be the best Christmas ever, especially for Tony's parents. For his brother and his dad. But I don't have any conditions of what that needs to look like. And I know in that moment, it allows my spark to get brighter when I need it to. I know I can show up and go with the flow as I need to. And I know that there may be moments that my ego may decide to have a little bit of a conversation. But you know, when we see that, that's the gift. There's another gift that we're seeing. That we can see that we're a little bit in our personal thinking. And we know that our feeling are a good gauge of allowing us to know that we're not residing in the spark of creation in the moment. So my stories, when I look back, because that's really all we're reacting to, is stories that we've already made up in our mind and holding ourselves prisoners to those stories. I don't have a story of what this Christmas will look like. We have dates and times of when we're going to meet people. But when that day comes, that day will come. And we'll arrive when we arrive. We've not got the food in. We don't know what we're eating as such. We have an idea. But we'll go to the store and we'll see what's there and we'll cook what's there with love. And that's the fun, that because where intention goes, energy flows. So if you put your intention to just being with yourself in the moment and allowing yourself to be that spark and just seeing that connectedness that we are seems to have a ripple effect out into others without us really having to say anything. I was laughing with a friend a few years ago when we were talking about this, and she had said, it's a little bit like we're Secret Service. We can go into any environment and just be ourselves, and everybody will feel that. And they don't have to know what it's about, do they? And we kind of giggled like children. It was like, yeah, let's be Secret Services this year. Let's go into our families and just spread the love, without even having how we're going to do that. And we had probably one of the best Christmases then. And afterwards, when we got together, the love that we felt, sharing what our times were. And her times back then was really troubled. Her family was what she would have said is dysfunctional. There was no dysfunction that she saw that year. And she says two of her brothers who weren't talking just sat down as if they forgot that they weren't talking to one another for a few years. So this divine spark of creation that you truly are, it doesn't hold you just to the 25th of December. It holds you every single day and night in this form. It doesn't just give you with the presence of love on the 25th of December. It will hold you 365 days and nights of the year. And I'm sure there's been moments when you have gone out into this world not really looking forward to where you were going, and then forgetting that and just being in the experience of it. And Christmas is just a thing. It's just a story that we've made up. I truly believe that. It's a beautiful story, and it holds a lot of wisdom, and I think it's a wonderful metaphor, a truly beautiful metaphor of new beginnings, of allowing to see ourselves fresh and new, and the excitement of putting our Christmas tree up and putting the lights, and knowing that the symbolicness of the lights were to bright up the darkness of the winter nights. Our soul does that beautifully. Our soul lights us up, just not through the winter nights, but through the summer, the spring, all seasons. We are the brightest light in this world. You are the brightest light in this world. And the more your light becomes brighter, that's how you see. And I'm not talking about like seeing from these eyes, seeing from your heart, your soul, through the eyes, and knowing that it's your soul. And Sydney Banks, who uncovered the principles, divine soul is pure consciousness. And in the form, we seem to have it that consciousness has a lid on it, it has a roof, it has a ceiling, which means that we can only expand so far. But in our spiritual formless intelligence, the sky is not even the limit. Way beyond the sky, and way beyond anything that we possibly know, is your wisdom. Your nature to create in the moment. And when you go inside, and you feel that stillness of the love and the truth which is inside of you, you get to realize that, as I said before, you are the only you. You are the only person that can be you. And with the principles being the gifts that keep on giving, you get to be a new you in the moment. Like when I look away and when I look back, because of the nature of the principles being that we have thought, it flows into our consciousness every breath. And when it flows into our consciousness, it's completely neutral. Which means that if I think, oh, there's Harry, then I have a choice of just being with Harry truly in the moment, or I can bring back what I've made up of Harry. Because I saw Harry on Sunday, right? But let's say something happened on Sunday, and Harry and I didn't get on. Bet your bottom dollar, that's the thinking it's going to come through first. Oh, it's him again. Now, we didn't. We got on beautifully on Sunday. But I'm just illustrating how our thoughts, even quicker than we can imagine, as soon as we see something, our thoughts are there. And the gifts of the principles will, remember where intention goes, energy flows. When we start looking at, oh, it's him again, then I'm going to get lost in the him again of all the other times I've thought that. Then it doesn't become about Harry anymore. It becomes about all the other times I had those kind of thoughts and feelings. Then I see that I'm still using the gift of the principles, but not as clearly as perhaps I could. Now, seeing that, when you see that, it's enough to stop the electricity of the brain, of the current, to stop. It doesn't mean that it's going to have a magic wand and just, there it goes, it's gone. But you are the power to create you new in the moment. And the more you see that you are that power, and the more that you see that thought is truly allowing you to be with that power, or to look as if someone else has the power, the more you see that, you're back to your divine spark. You're back to original thought, fresh in the moment, like never before. So I could say to you, I've had so many Christmases, but I truly see that every day is like Christmas. Every day is like birthdays. Every day is a new reality. Every moment is a new reality. And the less I'm aware of the stories that I listen to, the more we become less aware of our ego, and the less we edge God out, the less we listen to our psychological numbness, and the more we listen to our spiritual truth. And we see that the only reality that we truly have is us being born again in the moment. With original thought, and I love that. I love that I get to see you like never before. I love that you get to see me like never before. So over this holiday season, whoever you meet, see them as if you've never seen them before. That's your gift to you. And can you imagine that if Harry was thinking, oh, Steve might be upset with me because I upset him on Sunday. Could you imagine him coming with that energy, and then me and then me coming with my energy, and I was kind of squaring each other up and thinking, oh, you feel that. You just feel that energy. There's the gift of the principles, again, allowing you to feel that. You are your own best teacher. But of course, when I show up and I see, oh, that's Harry. It's great to see him again. Then where I'm hanging out is the best version of me that I possibly could be, which means that I am in such a beautiful space to see the best version of Harry in the form in that moment. I see that I hold myself prisoner, and that's the only person that I can. Sid once, in one of his DVDs, he talks about that the older we get, he says some people think they get wiser. He says, but that's not always so. Some people get sillier the older they get. And that tickled me, because I used to have a lot of people saying, oh, when you get as wise as me, and that's what I would be. I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to be like myself. Because I spent so many times denying that really spark of creation, or believing that it had to look or feel or be a certain way. Showing up in the moment and just seeing allows our natural rhythm of the oneness, of our sense of community, our sense of hope, our sense of aliveness, our sense of truth, to shine through us like the brightest beacon, like that star that guided the three wise men. You are the star. You are the wise men and woman. There is no one more holier, spiritual, enlightened than you. And when you see through those eyes, you see a world, it's enlightened. You see the hope that Sydney Banks clearly saw for humanity. And that was missing in all of my other modalities that I learned. There was the to-do list, the helping, the sorting. To know that everyone has perfect health inside of them. There's the best Christmas ever. Pure psychological freedom. Lit up in a moment by the divine spark of creation, of mind, of thought, and of consciousness.
Could I give an example of that, Steve?
Sure.
Yeah, just to change it a little bit. We went to there was a Christmas party that Mark and Karen had a couple of days ago. Old friends, which is one of the things that is always a treat at Christmas. But they had their, Karen has a relative who's mentally challenged. So he's about 40 years old and he has a mentality of about 10 years old in his mind. I think he's a little older than that, and his joy in everything that he experiences was so effervescent that the love that he has, that he's experiencing. He's been there 2 weeks, and Karen said, I think about 30 seconds he got in a bad mood. And the whole time in 2 weeks, all he was a little kid who just could celebrate the excitement of stuff. And they took him to Cirque du Soleil, which is a beautiful show here in North America. And when Mark described it, it was kind of like pretty good, it was kind of nice, but it had a few flaws in the continuity of the way. And his was like, it was like the greatest thing in the universe. It was so fantastic. And the thing I noticed was that Mark and Karen, because they're having this guy around them, this spirit of Christmas, and this 40-year-old mentally challenged guy, their relationship's getting better. They're happier. The lift is amazing. And guess how I felt when I was around him? I can't even understand what he's talking about because my hearing is not so good, but he's this enthusiasm, and he gives everybody a card. He makes his own big card like a little kid, and he gives it to you like my 3-year-old gives it to me and stuff. And I'm telling you, man, this guy's got it together.
Yeah. That's beautiful, Harry. And we still have that same magical 10-year-old inside. But I love how you pointed to it's like, but as adults, we put the adult hat on. I don't allow ourselves and that joyfulness of the spirit to shine, unless it has a certain time of the year or whatever. But it's there always to shine.
We're just a bunch of little kids pretending we're adults.
Yeah.
And the Danes can be serious, but we know that's not the truth. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas to you too. Anybody wants to chip in with a question to either Harry or to Steve? Something on your mind? It doesn't necessarily have to relate to Christmas. It can be anything.
I have something.
Ja, Lars?
Can you hear me? No.
Ja.
Can you hear me?
Ja, du må gerne rykke lidt tættere på.
Okay.
Lars, der er noget galt med dit speakeranlæg.
Is it better? No?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know.
That's okay.
Ja. Jeg venter. Jeg sidder over. Jeg kan se, den skriver, at der er noget galt med anlægget.
Nej, der er ikke noget galt. Vi kan godt høre dig her, og vi kan høre dig på dansk, så vi kan formodentlig også høre dig på engelsk. Hvis du vil det. Nå, okay. Lars har muted sig selv. Er der nogen andre, der har nogle spørgsmål?
Han er på nu.
Er du på nu igen, Lars?
Okay. Jamen, I just thought that thing.
Lars, du falder ud igen.
Ja, det er jeg. Men jeg tror ikke, I kan høre mig. Okay?
Jo, nu kan vi godt høre dig.
Kan I høre mig nu?
Ja, vi kan godt høre dig nu.
Okay. I just love okay, super. I just loved Steve when you said that to meet other people like they were born, like it was the first time you saw them. Really fitted into my place of and how I'm going to celebrate Christmas this year. I haven't made any plan at all, so I will see, but I really love that. That was really good for me to hear. That was just it.
Thank you. I'm happy you heard that.
Jette, vil du sige noget? Du markerer ikke, okay. Harry, do you have anything? Yeah, you are.
Well,
do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think what I'd like, to be honest, what I'd like to hear is what people are looking forward to this Christmas, or any little story. I'll start it off. To me, the greatest thing that I'm looking forward to this Christmas is my 3.5-year-old grandson, who's never been to my place, is coming over on the 23rd. My daughter and her husband are having a big party at their house, and I'm taking him to my place. And the thrill of being a pal with this 3.5-year-old kid, and I'm going to take him to Dairy Queen, which is a hamburger, chips, ice cream place. And I said, "What do you want?" And he says, "I want all of those. All of those. Not just one thing. I want all of them." And I've got underneath the tree the best gift. I went to the thrift store and got these army guys with shooting things and tanks and all these, like a whole menagerie of stuff. And I'm looking so much forward to playing with him with that. And to me, honestly, that's the highlight of what I'm looking forward to in Christmas. And it brings such joy to my heart. And we'll have a sleepover, and we'll have a lot of giggles and a lot of laughs. And I know we'll get closer and closer together. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I would like to hear from others. What are you looking for? Like something like that, that's a little bit of a joyful little experience that will warm Steve's heart up a little bit.
Well, we are going to one of our sons where we will be 15 people together with in-laws and grandchildren, as you know. And Pernilla and I, we are so incredibly grateful for is really to see how well they connect. How loving they are to one another, how they respect one another, how they really have empathy. If one of them is a little bit sad, as you know, they really care about that. So it's really this wonderful thing of everybody being aware of one another, everybody enjoying the company of one another. So apart from all the gift stuff, which I think is terrible, the togetherness will really more than compensate for all that, because it's beautiful.
I want in your house everybody to get a gift except you.
Yeah. And we're going to stay there for 2 days, and I look very much forward to the 25th. You know, we have Christmas Eve the 24th, and the 25th I have been talking to God about the weather for many months now, and I'm sure it'll be so nice on the 25th. So they live in the country, and on the countryside, so we're going to be outside and make a bonfire and, you know, pancakes and stuff on the fire, and it's going to be very, very nice, especially that day. And there are 7 children of the small ones. The smallest is just 2.5 and up to 15. And they're very, very good together. They love each other and have a beautiful time.
Yeah,
so.
And you guys have a beautiful family, honestly, very.
Yeah.
I met them,
Thank you. Yeah. Well, you met 3 of them.
Yeah. But there were 3 good ones.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Jetta has something.
Yeah, I will just unmute you. Hold it a second. Hvorfor sker der ikke noget?
Det gør det også.
Nu er det på.
I should do it myself.
Okay.
I got a box. I'm so happy. Everything you said, Steve, was going right through to my heart. My eldest son came home yesterday from UK, and I haven't seen him for 8 months. And yesterday, all my 3 children were here with me, and again today, how lucky I am. And I can feel I will get the most chill Christmas ever, because we have cancelled the Christmas gifts. So we play a game, Secret Santa, so we can only buy 1 present. And nobody knows who we are buying to. It's a big secret. We cannot talk about it. I usually ran around buying stuff and buying presents and clean the house and bake the cookies and do everything. So by Christmas night, I was exhausted, and I used to be in a bad mood. But this Christmas, it will be so chill and calm. Yes.
Sounds wonderful.
Yes, I hope so. I know it will be.
There you go.
I think there's something very curious about the Christmas cookies, because we have several different kinds of Christmas cookies, and the house mother is always working her behind off doing all these cookies, etc. And the children are working there behind off eating them, and if they really sit down together and talk about how this dynamic really created, then it is the expectations of the mother that the children is going to have the cookie, and the children's expectation that they have to eat the cookies that the mother is creating. So everybody is tied up, and there is such a relief when you find out you don't have to do that, because it's really okay not to have the cookies. As a matter of fact, it's very much nicer if we don't have them. And we had that going, and I think it's a very common thing that you do something in order because you expect it that the other expects that from you, and so we are caught up in a little bit of dance of expectations during Christmas. It's very nice that you all of a sudden open your eyes like you did, Jette, and get down to basics. namely being together without all these extra efforts that really is very tiring. My mother had an expression every year when she was around about the 15th of December. She said to me, "Oh dear, now I'm climbing up the Christmas mountain," and and I could see her toiling all the way up here because it was so terribly tiring. Everything, all the things that he had to do, and she has a favorite saying was, "Oh, I really look forward to the moment that this is a great movie." So she was not really in the moment at any point in time. She was always either climbing up the mountain or she was looking forward to when it was all over. She never really enjoyed it in the middle. So I think that the more you can be at ease with the Christmas tradition without being burdened by the traditions, I think it is great. I don't mind the Christmas tradition as long as it makes sense to everybody, but it's not always like that. And very often the tradition seems to be more of a burden than it really brings pleasure. And when that falls away, everybody can be together in quite a different way.
You bring a very important point. When there's, say, a funeral, the person with the highest level of consciousness will lift the spirit of people. And in Christmas, you're right, there is a lot of distraught energy and scattered energy and excitement energy. And it's up to you to use the three principles wisely, which really means truth. Just, that's all three principles is to me, truth. The truth inside yourself. It's up to you to bring a little bit of a lift to that situation, because Christmas is a joyful time, yet we know human beings, and especially adults, can have a lot of humbug in them. And it's up to us. That's what wisdom is about, is to use it. And to use it, we don't get into talking about the principles, we raise the energy. And that's, as long as you keep pointing Christmas to that native feeling, this is what it means, raise the energy. All my relations, everything is all connected together. That's our job. And when we share a beautiful feeling, lifting other people, just with energy, not with talking, anyone can talk. That's what Christmas is about. Because your mother who climbs that mountain, the reason she does it is because she's sharing a feeling. And even though she's complaining the whole time, she's actually remembers that she's giving the whole time. And that's why she keeps climbing that mountain. So it's our job, if we're going to be living in truth, is to raise the level of consciousness of the universe every moment, every second of every feeling, every thought, but especially at Christmas time, because we know people get lost. And we know there's a lot of humbug out there. And humbug is not Christmas. Humbug is anti-Christmas. So we're here to have a good time. And we're here to eat too much, and maybe even have a drink or two, although the Danes don't like drinking, so that's out of the question. And, and pick up the energy from the kids. They're the ones who are having fun at Christmas. Forget about the adults. We're a bunch of boring people. Let's have a little fun with the kids. My 3.5-year-old is the one who's going to lift my spirits. I'm not going to lift his. Come on. He's way higher than I am. So, make sure you lift your family. Have a good time. They'll want to get into the misery, like a funeral. Oh, it's so sad. It's not sad. It's a spiritual event, a beautiful thing. And how many times does the family come together? I don't know about you, but I love Christmas just to see my family together. That alone is, they're all over the place and their minds are all over the place. And if we can have a communion of spirit, that's a beautiful thing. Whatever that means. When Steve and I talked on Sunday, the beautiful thing was we were in the same place. That was the beauty. And when we were in the same place, I listened to Steve and I loved it. I loved the feeling he was sharing. Just loved it. It was because we were together that feeling was appreciated. And where he could go was unlimited. Where you can go is unlimited. And right at the end, the energy went down in the show a bit. Somebody got caught up a little bit in their opinion about what native spirituality was. And so the energy was, and then I asked Steve to finish the show off, and then we could leave with that beautiful feeling.
And if I could just say a little bit of, one of the things that I found is that when I'm hanging out with people, so for instance, when I'm doing a talk, or if I'm with my family, or I'm leading a retreat, before I used to have an agenda of where those people needed to get to, in order for me to think that they got the best. I see that as all paradigm thinking, because I see that no one can raise my consciousness. What I loved about when Harry was saying about his grandson, you don't know what his grandson looks like. We know his age, but I want to hang out with Harry when he's in that space. And he's not even with his grandson. Harry created all that, all on his own, and I felt that. I felt that. When Harry shows up with his grandson, he's going to be so open and in that excitement that that's what his grandson's got to look forward to. So one of the things as I have given up is I go along and I be the best version of me that I possibly can. And I get out of my way. I get out of my way. And I know if I want to speak from my spark of creation, how people hear that is up to them. So in family dynamics, you might get the one people, or like if I'm leading a retreat or something, then I will see where people are falling out of their thinking and into their true nature. I will see that very easily. I'm working with a young guy at the moment who is petrified to leave his house or even go downstairs. He was in the house on his own. And I've done 3 sessions with him on. In the second one, he had a big insight. And his insight was simply that he thought he had to make himself happy. And he saw that his brother, who's younger than him, was always happy, telling jokes, everybody loved him. And because he wasn't happy, or how he thought happiness looked like, he started having severe panic attacks. His heart started racing so fast that he thought he was having a heart attack. So when I was speaking to him, I wasn't speaking to that part. I wasn't speaking to the part that made up the story. I was listening for his health. When I get in amongst my family over Christmas, I won't listen for their health in the same way. But I will see it. Not because that's what I'm looking for and I'll only speak to people who are in a good mood. But remember, where intention goes, energy flows. So if I see the health, if I know there's health inside every single person, how they wake up to that is up to them. So don't get yourself stuck thinking, well, everybody, I did this, or I did a dinner party, or I was with the family and a couple of people weren't happy. The greatest gift I think we can do as well is allow people to be themselves. Because one of the things which I promise you, and I've seen it time and time again, just like I explained there, when I heard Harry speak about his grandson, I saw you all lift. I saw you all rising. And Harry simply was telling you about his grandson and the joy of what he's looking forward to. And we all started smiling and lifting up. And we forgot whatever else was going on because we were in that joy and the excitement of Harry. There's how the truth of who we are works. So when you're hanging out with whoever who you're hanging out with, just not at Christmas or whenever, give up trying to sort, trying to fix, trying to make it better. Knowing that when you hang out with the best version of you, they're going to get that. Just like Harry beautifully explained. So I mix between, there's 3 households I want to make a trip to this Christmas. I want to go to Harry's in Canada, and I want to come to Denmark and share, because these all sound wonderful. The magic of how people are just going to show up in the moment. And people get to hang out with you showing up in the moment. They get to hang out with the best version of you in the moment. How great is that? And they're going to feel that. Harry beautifully says, the energy lifting it up. The reason why we do that, because we know behind all this made up reality, it's a truth. And it's like, a little bit like, you know, when you're sending an SOS signal, or not SOS, what's the other, Morse code. But if you were to do it like with a torch, and one light sees the other, one lighthouse sees the other. A lighthouse stops the boats, the ships from crashing by just being itself and showing its light. Just be you and show the best version of you. And just being aware sometimes you won't and sometimes you will. It's how we're designed. This young guy I was telling you about thought that he had to be perfect and happy. And I asked him, how did that feel? And he says, it's horrible. I says, right on. It's horrible for me too when I have that thought. But the great thing is he saw that. He got to see that he didn't like creating that feeling. And he also got to see that we're born happy. Happiness is not something we obtain or we get from gifts. We are happy, shining brightly. And happiness is a word. If I was to say, I'm going to ask every single one of you to tell me one word that describes happiness. Some might be same, but others will be different. So it just shows that we're the only one having our sense of reality in the moment. But yet we get to share that with others. Because the principles are the gifts it keep on giving. You are everything you're looking for. And what really excites me is there's nothing you can do to stop that, because you're thinking, even though we may get lost in it, your well-being will right you. It will point you true north. Like that lighthouse shining bright so that those ships don't crash. Your well-being will never, ever, ever give up on you. There's the best for me, Christmas, birthdays, everything rolled into one. Your higher intelligence, whatever we want to call it, your divine spark of creation, that Sydney Banks saw so clearly, that we misuse the role of thought and all our understandings. And if we just see that we will move in and out of form and formless, then we can give up at having to be perfect. We can give up at having to look that same way. Because I'm sure even though Harry was saying what he wants to do with his grandson, he will show up and do whatever shows up in that moment. If his grandson says, but I want to go for pizza, Harry will take him for pizza.
No way.
Okay, I no longer want to be at your house then.
Just send the present.
But again, it's just being. We spend so many times doing. And I think this time of the year gives us a beautiful opportunity to just be in our space. And knowing that space has a knock-on effect to raise the consciousness of ourselves, raise the consciousness of others without us even doing anything.
Is that the note that we're going to close on and say Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you very much to Steve?
Have a great time, guys.
Yeah.
Have a great time.
Same to you. Same to you.
Steve, thank you very much for showing up, Steve. It has
My
been
greatest pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I wish everyone the best Christmas ever, the best holiday season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas.
Same to you. Bye.
Same to you.
Same to you.
Merry Christmas,
Okay.
everyone.
And everybody.
Be well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
See you next
Thank
time.
you very
How
much.
do you- Just a sec, I have a question. How do you say Merry Christmas in Danish?
Glædelig jul.
Glædelig jul.
Glædelig jul.
Farewell,
Okay.
guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.